comments, grade your own team, or maybe grade one of the more, I don't know, well-known teams in the NBA. You can go ahead and do that down in the comments. Make sure you also like the video if you do like the video, and subscribe to the channel to see all this random stuff that I post on this channel. Just all the content that I like, I post and make it myself. So definitely a lot of fun. Also, thank you so much for the super comment, whatever you want to call it, to Andrew. Thank you so much, Andrew, for the super thank you on the last video. Really helps me out. Really means a lot to me as well. Didn't have to do it, but you did it, and I cannot thank you enough for that little super thanks. I think it's what it's called. But yeah, I really do appreciate it. But anyways, we have a little bit of a discussion to get through, so let us finally get started. Alrighty. So obviously, going in alphabetical order, we have here the Atlanta Hawks. And with the Atlanta Hawks, they gave the Atlanta Hawks a grade of a C minus. Definitely not looking too good for the Atlanta Hawks in this grading system, which again, if I do agree with the grade, I'll just agree with it, maybe say a couple sentences and then move on. If I disagree, I'll give a little bit more brief, I don't know, opinion, I guess, which again, this video, my opinions, they don't matter, they don't care, they're wrong, they're stupid, they're idiotic, yada, they're just my own opinion. It doesn't matter, it doesn't, do anything to the team or players. But anyways, Atlanta Hawks, C minus. Do you agree or disagree? Right now, the Atlanta Hawks are 11th in the Eastern Conference, going at 9-9. Definitely pretty interesting, if you ask me. I mean, obviously, like Trae Young has been definitely on and off throughout a lot of games throughout this year already. I mean, sure, he's already put up a 40-point game against the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 25 points per game, 9 assists, looking really good, but it just seems like just some nights it doesn't click or snap together. I'm assuming that a lot of people are assuming it should have been at the start of the year, since last year they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I mean? They were very competitive throughout the entire playoffs, and then this year came around, and you could see it's definitely a slower start for them. So I think I will agree with that. I think C minus just barely under sort of that normal expectation. I think a normal expectation for them would definitely be, at least in that playoff, area of like 8-6. I feel like they should be somewhere around there already, but all the way back down to 11, man, that's not looking too great. For the Boston Celtics, they get a grade of a C, a solid C, which, do I agree with that? Boston right now, 6th seed in the NBA at 10-8. 6th seed Boston. You know what? I think I will give them a C. Definitely at the beginning of the year they were looking pretty rough, and definitely that skid where Jaylen Brown was out. That definitely also really hurt on how the Boston Celtics looked and how they were going to look in the future of this year. I mean, of course, trade talks, and if Jason Tatum's not the right sort of superstar to build around, all those things were really starting to float around. But I feel like now they're finally starting to even out, find their way. I mean, of course, they have a new head coach. I mean, Jason Tatum is still coming into his own as, a focal point, a true superstar, and it's still a relatively young team in the NBA, so always have to put all those factors together. And I feel like they're doing it's looking pretty good for them. I'm not gonna lie. James Harden has definitely struggled throughout most of the year. Really starting to find himself again, starting to become more efficient and everything like that, which is amazing. Still becoming that playmaker. And then KD's averaging nearly 30 points per game, number of rebounds, a number of assists. He's looking like again an MVP type of candidate right now. So I think everything is starting to find their home in Brooklyn, especially with LaMarcus Aldridge balling off the bench and Patty Mills having a very impactful role in the team. Things aren't definitely as bad as people were probably expecting it to be when Kyrie Irving decided not to play, and who knows if he's going to miss the entire season. I have no idea, but as of right now, I think I would actually give them probably like a B+. I'd actually give them a B+ on this one. They're actually doing a little bit better than I was expecting them to be. Next up, we have the Charlotte Hornets, and for the Charlotte Hornets, they gave them a B, which, I mean, if the Brooklyn Nets are getting a B+, I think it should be fair that a team that was arguably, in the number 1-2 spot for a number of weeks in the NBA East, I think they should get like an A-, should they not? Maybe even an A. I mean, in my opinion, they're already playing like maybe one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference when, I mean, I was picking them to be like a play-in series type of team. I didn't know they were going to make that big of a jump, especially because of Miles Bridges. That guy is balling out of his mind the entire season, and then LaMelo Ball is just looking like he's becoming an improved scorer, even a better facilitator, which is super crazy. That team is really starting to find themselves. Obviously, of course, they're pieces away from really making that sort of big jump, but man, the jump they did make in this season compared to last season is just absolutely crazy. I am giving them like an A-. They're 5th in the NBA, pretty much tied for 3rd, which is, again, super duper crazy. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this team, so I'm giving them like an A-. I think that's pretty fair. The Chicago Bulls, they gave them a grade of an A, which I will agree with. I think an A is perfect. I think an A+ would be actually like very arguable here, but I think, again, this is nothing they can really control, but the injuries they have of Patrick Williams losing him for the entire season, and then Nikola Vucevic hasn't even played for pretty much more than half of the games in Chicago already. So I think if they were more healthy, if they were a more healthy team, they would have an A+. And also the consistency is also off. I also hate the lineup they're playing right now with Patrick Williams and Vucevic out. I think they have like a 4-guard team out there, sometimes maybe even a 5-guard team out there. Sometimes they play such a weird game. I don't like it, but I think with what they are given, with the very bad luck they've had so far this year, being the second team in the East, being number 1 for a pretty long time, instead of, while the Nets are on their high horse right now, I'm actually obviously very surprised. I actually did pick the Bulls to be my surprise team for this year. Again, I said this before, people had the Bulls missing the playoffs before the season started. Like, actual professionals were writing that the Bulls were still a year or 2 away from making the playoffs. I begged to differ, and a lot of you guys agreed with me, which is awesome. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, the grade they gave them was an A+++, a triple A+. That's kind of interesting. I will say that Cleveland is doing good this year. Of course, I think Colin Sexton is out for, I think, the entire year, so I don't know how you can get a team that has basically their best player arguably out for the entire year, an A+++ on the entire season. That's a little weird. But with that being said, they have been competitive for a lot of their games. Another last game against the Nets, almost winning that game, which is pretty crazy, not gonna lie. But the Cavs, 9-9, tied with the Knicks and also the Atlanta Hawks for their record. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And do I think they will skid back down as the year goes on? I think yes, of course. Are they going to be maybe a playing team? Sure, I guess, but they're not going to be, getting up any higher than I think where they are right now. But I think they are in a good spot. Will I give them an A+++? Absolutely not. I'll give them like a B. I think they're doing good. They're doing very solid. It just sucks, man, with Colin Sexton. I still absolutely hate their big lineup with Lauri Markkanen and Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. I hate that concept so much. Darius Garland has dude, Denver, man, and that injury bug. They don't have Jamal Murray. Jokic has been out, and I think even Michael Porter Jr. has also been reported to maybe needing another back surgery. So he might be out for the entire year as well, man. That's just crazy for them. But Jokic is still looking like an MVP candidate this year. I think he will continue that. Will I give them a B though? I might give them like a B minus. I think again they're being very average, and I think of course with Jamal Murray still being out, and even Jokic being out, and Michael Porter Jr. having these problems, I think they are still keeping afloat, which is really good. But I mean, they have a lot of really good other players that have really stepped up as well. So I think yeah, like a BB minus, kind of the same with the Dallas Mavericks, kind of like what I'm expecting the Nuggets to be is what I'm saying. The Detroit Pistons get a grade of a C minus. Ooh, C minus for the Detroit Pistons. Right now at 4-12. Yikes, C minus. That's really tough because I do want to give them a low grade because of course Cade Cunningham definitely being very weird this year. Again, he's had moments where he looks really good, moments where he looked really bad, especially his first handful of games when he started the NBA season were kind of rough, but this isn't really anything that I'm really expecting. Like, this isn't like, oh, come on, the Pistons could be better type of ordeal. You're kind of expecting them to be like a bottom feeder of the NBA, and that's what they're doing, so I guess I'll agree with it. I don't have no problems with this grade. They are building, a pretty decent team there. Obviously, if they do keep Jeremy Grant or if they trade Jeremy Grant, that's a big question. But Sadiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, all those young pieces, they all look really good. They just need obviously just more time, and that's definitely what they need. The future is definitely in a good spot for Detroit. But as of right now, I think a C minus is probably a pretty fair grade. Golden State Warriors are up next, and they get a grade of an A, which is wrong. They should get the A plus 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 plus. Of course, the Golden State Warriors have had a way better start than what I thought. Steph Curry is having a way better start. Jordan Poole is having a way better start. The young players are having a way better start, and this is even without having their star center and Wiseman even playing, and they look really, 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 really good, being the number one team in the NBA record-wise. Who would have thought? I didn't. I thought this team was going to be more of like a playoff, like a title, contending team trying to just to stay healthy for the year, wait for Klay Thompson to come back, and just cross their fingers. But it seems like they're going full force the entire year and maybe even into the playoffs. So if they can keep this rolling, man, the Warriors are going to be scary, even with just having Klay Thompson back and having Jordan Poole come off the bench. Like, that's going to be a crazy type of threat to having coming off the bench. So Golden State Warriors should get the A plus 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 plus, and the Houston Rockets get a grade of a D minus. Yikes, that definitely hurts. I think Houston right now is the worst team in the NBA, only winning one game the entire year so far, which is bad. I didn't think they were going to be this bad because, of course, again, they still have Christian Wood, Jalen Green, Eric Bledsoe, Eric Gordon. I wish John Wall would play this year, but it looks like he's going to sit the entire year no matter what, so that's kind of interesting, I guess. But man, do I think they're the worst team in the NBA? I mean, that's definitely up for discussion, but a D minus, you know what? I guess I can agree with that. I mean, I'm not going to give them an F because I don't think that's really right, but do I think they should be better? I think they should be winning more than one game as of so far, so I think a D minus, that's a pretty fair grade. They should be not winning only one game when you still have, Christian Wood, a very good player, Jalen Green, a very good player, and Eric Gordon, some other really good role players on your team. Should be able to win at least one more game than that. The Indiana Pacers get a C minus, which is interesting. They are 8-11, pretty much right in that range where like the Raptors, Atlanta, and Cleveland are at. They're like a game off from there, which isn't bad, and they can still definitely again be that sort of play-in a C would be maybe somewhere a little bit between like 9, 10, 11. Right now they're 13th, so just a little bit off from what I was expecting them to be this year, especially again, so many injuries. Duarte has definitely played very good so far this year, and again, Sabonis is still definitely an all-star candidate this year. Finally getting Karis LeVert back, Brogdon, thankfully, and who knows when TJ Warren will be back when he does come back, and they finally have a complete team put together. I think they can make a run for a playoff spot. So as of right now, 13 seed, a couple games off of being in that play-in area, a C- is a pretty good spot for them. Los Angeles Clippers get a B+. This is also one I will agree with. Right now the Clippers are 10-7, and man, I mean, of course we knew Paul George was gonna have a very, 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 very good year this year, but man, Reggie Jackson, Zubac, even Nicholas Batum, even the other players on this team, I feel like all those guys have a capability of scoring, 20 points in any given night, and definitely Reggie Jackson has shown that he's definitely, when Kawhi does come back, he's going to be a pretty reliable third option on that team, because, man, he looks like on some points in time, they go through Reggie Jackson at some point in time during some possessions, so, man, I think they're definitely going above and beyond expectations. Again, like I just said, they are 4th. I was definitely not expecting them to be this good in the year. I think, again, they were going to be like a struggling team. Maybe Kawhi comes back like very late at the end of the year, and they make some sort of playoff push, and then boom, they're maybe in a better spot. But man, right now, Kawhi might come back in a very good situation for the Clippers, and that's exactly what they want, just to plop in Kawhi into a playoff run and just see what happens. And right now, the role players on that Clipper team are playing absolutely amazing, so I will agree B+ is a good, fair grade. The Los Angeles Lakers, though, on the other hand, get a grade of a C-, which, do I want to agree with that? The Lakers right now are 9th in the NBA, 9-9, exactly 500. So the Lakers being exactly 500 with all the injuries, all the stories, all of the craziness going on in LA, I think a C- is a good spot, because me personally, again, if you saw my sort of like standing predictions that I did at the beginning of the year, I sort of said the Lakers were going to be a sort of coasting team, not really in that top seeded area. They will be in a good spot again, like a 4, 5, 6-3, like that really middle-ish of the pack, and they are kind of far off that 9, being in 9 right now, so I guess being away from expectation, you would kind of have to give them a low grade, like a C-, maybe even a D+. They do finally have LeBron back, even though he is going to miss a game from some craziness going down there in Detroit, but you just gotta hope that Anthony Davis can still continue what he's doing right now. He's definitely playing a lot better as of lately this last handful of games. Russell Westbrook has become less of a turnover machine and started to play a little bit more safer, which is really good. I'll say they are a C-, maybe even a D+ right now, but I think in the next maybe even short week or two, we are going to see the Lakers start revving up a little bit more, especially now with LeBron back, AD finally looking like a little bit of a better, regular Anthony Davis player. I think they're going to start looking a lot different very soon for the Memphis Grizzlies. They get a grade of a B. 100% agree with that. They are 6th right now in the NBA, 9-8, tied with Portland, up there with Dallas. I'm actually very surprised about Memphis. I mean, again, a team, I guess that would be a sort of playing team right now. They're looking like maybe even positioning themselves for a good sort of playoff run. Who knows? But they were a very scrappy team at the end of last year, obviously beating the Warriors in that play-in series and going to against the number 1 seed in the West last year, the Utah Jazz, and even having some good battles there, I guess. But this year, I mean, God, John Morant is definitely, if he was on a different team, he'd definitely be an MVP frontrunner, in my opinion. You just gotta hope for Jaren Jackson to continue what he's doing. Players like Desmond Bane. I mean, it sucks that Dylan Brooks is hurt, which, man, that sucks. But again, they're just really starting to rally around the crazy play and emotion of John Morant. For the Miami Heat, they given a grade of an A-, which A-. minus is fair. I'm not gonna be mad about that because again they are third in the East, right below the Bulls and the Nets, having a record of 11-6. Again, in that sort of area where I expected them to be, sort of that 3-4, that home court advantage battle, and they are there right now. Oh man, I just don't really love like the depth of that team. I mean, of course they have probably the 6th man of the year and Tyler Hero coming off the bench, which is great. But after that, it starts to get really hard for them. That's for sure. I mean, Jimmy Butler's playing like an MVP. Bam Adebayo's playing really good. I think an A- is good, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this team slip and fall by the end of the year because again their depth is just not all there. I wish they could sign maybe one more guy. I think that would really solidify them for me as like, oh my god, the Miami Heat. But as of right now, the transition of Kyle Lowry being their starting point guard is looking like it's going really good. The Milwaukee Bucks are given a grade of a B, which right now the Bucks are 7th, 10-8 on the season. I'm gonna give the Bucks like a C+. I know it's kind of a big jump from B to C+, but man, the Bucks were struggling a lot this year, and you could also take into account, man, all the injuries, man, of just all the players, man, just so unlucky at the start of the year. I mean, again, their first game of the year, man, they look like you should already crown them the NBA champs because they look that dominant against the Nets, but I mean, losing Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton, and just having literally Giannis just there, asking for help, basically. They are starting to pick it up. I think they're on like a 4 or 3 game win streak, which is really great. And I think again, as the team comes back together from all these injuries, they will start to rev it up again and make their way up the standings. But as of right now, definitely below where they should be, obviously because of injury. But you gotta take that into account. I'd give them like a C+, B-. It's unfair, but the season they're having right now is just a little bit underwhelming. But again, they will get it revved up, I think. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are given a grade of a C for the Minnesota Timberwolves at 8 and 9 on the year. I would give them like a C+. I think where they are sitting, I think is where you're sort of expecting them to be. Again, a play-in team, but the games they have played, they look really good. And I'm not just saying that because I'm, a big like Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell fan, but the games I have seen them play, they look like so close of being like a complete NBA team. I think they are like a piece or so away from really starting to become that little like playoff contending like 6-seeded team. But right now, again, it wouldn't surprise me if the Timberwolves end the year as the 8 seed or a 9-10 seed. It would not surprise me if they are battling in that area the entire year, and I hope they are, and they do deserve it. But I think a C+ is good. I think they are almost right where they should be, but they are looking like a good team. Well, not a good team, but looking like a capable team at least. Orleans Pelicans are given a grade of a D. I will agree with that. The Pelicans, without having Zion, and then without having Brandon Ingram on the floor as well, and not having even Lonzo Ball on the team anymore, you can definitely tell it's having an effect on the style of how they play, just how they look as a team as a whole. That team is lost basically in this process. It's been really rough for them, but I think a D. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it with having your star player there and then having Ingram out too. It's been rough for the Pelicans. That's for sure. The New York Knicks get a grade of a C-. I guess agree. They are 9th right now in the East, and they're definitely still like trying to figure out their identity all over again, which kind of sucks because last year they had to try to figure that out, and they did. And then they did a whole revamp of their play style, basically having Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, more offensive style players into their team. And I kind of wish they didn't do that. I kind of wish they just would have kept that team together and just sort of ran it back. And I think that would have maybe even been better for them. But I mean, a C-, sure, a C or C-, I think is a fair grade. I think they are where they need to be. I said they would end the year as the 8th seed. Right now they're the 9th seed. I think again they will sort of even out throughout the year and maybe even make a big rush and push at the end of the year. That'd be really cool to see, but it just isn't clicking, at least the way that I thought it would be. The Oklahoma City Thunder are given a B plus for a grade. Not really sure why. Right now, they are 6-11 on the year. They did beat the Lakers, which, that's a really cool accomplishment. But again, I think that team is still, like, in an interesting spot right now. I will say their rebuild is going really good. Obviously, Josh Giddey looking good. Basley, however you pronounce his name, is looking good. Obviously, SGA. All the draft picks that they have, it's looking good. I'll give them maybe a B minus, maybe. I think they have played very competitive against a lot of the teams they've played so far this year. And again, I think if they did have another piece, those would probably turn into wins, quite honestly. But I think right now they are sort of on the path they are supposed to be on, so nothing too crazy. And I think the games that I've seen, they've been playing pretty good and very competitive. So I'll give them like a B minus B, maybe nothing too out of the ordinary. The Orlando Magic are given a C for the Orlando Magic. They are the last team in the NBA East with 4-14. That's tough. That's very tough. A C. You know what? Yeah, I'll agree with it. I mean, the Magic are gonna suck this year. That's just how it's gonna be. They still have a lot of their players are like Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, and they're basically just throwing Jalen Suggs out there and just saying, "Hey, try to win us some games." And Cole Anthony has looked really good, but again, they're the Magic. They're gonna suck. Nothing too out of the ordinary. A C is, yeah, they're about where they should be. The Philadelphia 76ers are given a grade of a B plus, and honestly, for this one, yeah, I think a B plus or a B. And I know they don't have Embiid. I don't even think they have Tobias Harris playing. They don't even really have obviously Ben Simmons either. So they've been missing basically their entire team, their guys, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris, and they're still competing, playing games very well. I mean, Andre Drummond and Tyrese Maxey is basically their new dynamic duo, and it's been working out for them pretty good. And all this extra play from the role players is just going to make the team a lot better down the stretch, especially in the playoffs when obviously Joel Embiid and those guys are back. Whatever happens with Ben Simmons happens with Ben Simmons, and they're definitely playing a lot better than I thought they would be. So yeah, I think that grade is actually not that bad. For the Phoenix Suns, they are given an A minus. I'm gonna give them more of like a B plus. I think that very slow start to the NBA season, I think really hurt at least the grade for me. I think, man, they really started off very, very, very low, and obviously went on a humongous win streak. It started to really see the Phoenix Suns that we saw last year, and I think that's all what we were waiting for, and we're finally seeing it. So that's why I know why that grade is so high, but I'm digging into a little bit of the fact of the start of the year, how bad that was. So I'll give them like a B plus, and still like Chris Paul isn't really the Chris Paul of last year. Same thing even with Devin Booker, but the team play is still very good in Phoenix nonetheless. Oh wow, okay. The Portland Trailblazers are given a grade of a D. Yes, a D for the Portland Trailblazers. Oh my god. I'm not saying this as just like a typical Blazer fan, but I don't agree with that. I mean, you have, of course, Damian Lillard having definitely his worst year in the entire NBA career that we know of Damian Lillard having, and having a new head coach is also pretty rough on that, and new role players and trying to learn a new system. You gotta take that all into account. Right now, they're 7th, tied for 6th in the NBA, right, even behind technically the 5th spot. When your star player is playing like a doo-doo, and the up and down consistency of CJ McCollum and even the rest of the team, again, like I was talking about, having to learn a new system with the new head coach, I think they are pretty much right where they should be. I think I could give them like a C plus. I think, of course, if Damian was playing a lot better, this would be a way different outcome. And I think if Damian was playing, like he was last year, this team would probably be, 3rd, 4th in the NBA, honestly. I'm just being honest. But that's not the case, so I think they are kind of where they should be. I think like a C plus, not a 6-12 on the year. Definitely looking not too great, especially now firing Luke Walton, which I've been asking for that for years now. I don't even think they should have even hired Luke Walton. I think Dave Yeager was actually doing a pretty good job even before Luke Walton even came around. So that's just my opinion, but I'll give them like a D plus. Again, they were really competitive at the start of the year. Again, really started to go on a skid. I think maybe with, who knows, a new head coach, they can sort of get on that up and up again. So I'll give them like a D plus. Their role players on that team look really good, obviously, with like Davion Mitchell. Hopefully they can trade Bagley for someone. God, hopefully. The Spurs get a C plus. I will agree with that because, thankfully the Spurs are tanking. The Spurs are losing, which thankfully, hopefully they keep losing because again they have such good pieces in San Antonio. They are just waiting for that one go-to star they can sort of start building around, and that team is going to look really, really, really good. So hopefully they can find that in this upcoming draft. And again, they're right where they should be. Their players are playing good, but they're losing, and that's exactly what San Antonio needs. They need to be competitive, but also lose, and that's what they're doing. The Toronto Raptors get a grade of a B minus. The Raptors right now 12th in the NBA East at 8 and 10. 8 and 10. Yeah, I'll give them a B minus. They are pretty much where they should be, but definitely, man, Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year, probably. And again, I know a lot of people are talking about, why didn't they take Suggs? Why didn't they take Suggs? Well, it's looking like they picked the right choice with picking up Scotty Barnes, because man, he's already looking like a really solid NBA player already, and that's really awesome. So I think that's maybe why I would agree with this, because they are sort of right where they need to be. But man, the play of Scotty Barnes and even all the rest of the guys, even with Pascal Siakam coming back healthy now, this team could make a splash for that play-in spot. That's for sure. We have the Utah Jazz of a B minus. Yeah, like a B minus B. I think them battling for that number one spot with the Warriors is where exactly they should be. It just still sucks that if Donovan Mitchell has a bad game or even an off night, that the Utah Jazz are guaranteed to lose, and I wish they could somehow try to fix that, but right where they should be, I feel. Utah Jazz, I love watching them play. I love Mitchell, man, he is an insane player, but man, if he has one off game, it's an instant L for that team, and I wish they would somehow switch that up. And then lastly, we have the Washington Wizards, and they only give them a grade of a B plus. The Washington Wizards are 4th in the NBA Eastern Conference. I legitimately thought they were going to be like a bottom feeder team. I'm pretty sure a lot of people also thought that. I think they deserve nothing less than an A minus. I think that the play and the way that Bradley Beal is allowing the others on this team to very contribute, like Montrezl Harrell and even Kyle Kuzma on some nights, they are looking pretty solid together. And then of course having Bradley Beal there as the go-to scorer, man, this team is looking a lot better than what I thought they were going to be, and that's saying a lot because this team could sneak into the playoffs, maybe pretty much be the same team that they were last year, which again, making a big trade of their second best player in Russell Westbrook. Very interesting to see where they end up, because right now, being 4th in the East, could they drop or will they continue this run? I have no idea, but I think an A minus is the least you can give them for this crazy run they've already been on. But yeah, guys, that's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, if you want me to talk about more of a specific team or player,